In UCLA laboratories, researchers placed people in a shielded room where they could manipulate the electromagnetic field of the air. When they depleted this field, participants began crying for no apparent reason. They lost awareness of where their bodies were in space.
Dr. Hunt spent 25 years documenting this. What she proved is disturbing. Your emotional state is not a personal choice. It's the product of the field your nervous system sustains, a field you inherited from your parents' fear patterns before you even formed your first memory.
You repeat affirmations, you visualize results, but your body keeps transmitting the same frequency of scarcity programmed decades ago.
Manifestation doesn't fail due to lack of faith. It fails because you're trying to change your mind while ignoring the only portal that truly matters.
Have you ever tried to manifest something using every available technique? Visualization, affirmations, vision boards, guided meditations, and still nothing changed. You're not alone. Millions of people repeat mantras every morning, visualize checks arriving, write gratitude journals. They do everything right, at least according to what they were taught. And they remain stuck in the same circumstances, the same financial limitations, the same relationship patterns. Here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't lack of faith or consistency. The problem is that the entire model is incomplete. For decades, we've been conditioned to believe that manifestation happens in the mind. Think the right thoughts, repeat the right words, imagine the right scenes. This premise dominated the personal development market, and this premise explains why the failure rate is so high. Dr. Valerie Hunt spent 25 years in UCLA laboratories investigating something most scientists ignored: the human electromagnetic field. Hunt was a professor of physiological science for over 40 years, consulted for NASA, and developed the first protocols to measure bioenergetic frequencies in controlled environments. What she discovered should have rewritten every manifestation book. The primary organizer of the human electromagnetic field is not thought, it's emotion. This changes everything. Hunt demonstrated in the laboratory that when emotional state changes, the bioelectric field surrounding the body reorganizes. Laboratory measurements, documented data, instruments recording frequencies that extend beyond the skin's surface, forming a dynamic field that constantly interacts with the environment. The crucial detail is this: if emotion organizes the field, and the field is the interface between you and the environment around you, where exactly does emotion reside? In the body, in the nervous system, in the tissues, in the viscera, not in the mind, in the body. That sensation in your chest when something moves you, the knot in your stomach when facing fear, the relaxation in your shoulders when safety exists. This isn't figurative language, it's the actual mechanism through which you transmit frequency to the field around you. The nervous system functions as a transmission and reception antenna. The frequency it maintains determines what you attract. Fields interact. Similar frequencies synchronize. Basic physics applied at a level we prefer to ignore. This is where it gets interesting. When you try to visualize abundance while your nervous system operates in threat mode, a signal conflict occurs. The mind projects an image. The body transmits fear. The field receives two contradictory messages. Which one prevails? The body's. Always the body's. Because the body cannot fake it. You can repeat, "I am abundant," 10,000 times. If your nervous system is contracted in survival mode, the frequency you emit remains scarcity, remains threat, remains "there's not enough." This explains a phenomenon we observe repeatedly. People practicing mental techniques for years without measurable results. It wasn't lack of dedication. It was failure to address the somatic component, the actual frequency being transmitted by the nervous system while the mind repeated words. We were taught to control thoughts. Nobody taught us to regulate the nervous system. Dr. Hunt documented that each person sustains what she called a signature field, a unique frequency pattern. In balanced individuals, this signature shows coherence, smooth waves, well distributed across the spectrum. In chronically stressed people, the pattern fragments, becomes chaotic. Coherence attracts coherence. Disorganization attracts disorganization. Similar frequencies naturally resonate. We are bioelectric beings operating in an environment of electromagnetic fields. The quality of emission determines the quality of reception. The real work of manifestation doesn't happen when you close your eyes and visualize. It happens in every moment your nervous system chooses between contraction and expansion, between survival mode and creation mode. The mind can create images. The body determines the frequency, and frequency is what the field receives. This mechanism remained ignored while we spent energy trying to control thoughts and force visualizations, like trying to tune a radio station by adjusting the wrong dial. The right dial is the nervous system. It always was. Notice something on your next car trip. You leave home, drive for 20 minutes, and arrive at your destination. Now try to remember, how many traffic lights did you pass? What color was the car in front of you? Was anyone walking on the sidewalk? Most of the time, the answer is, I have no idea, because you weren't there. Your body was driving. Your mind was somewhere else, replaying a conversation from the day before, rehearsing a future argument, calculating bills, imagining scenarios that will probably never happen. Most of us live in this state for the majority of our waking hours, present in body, absent in mind. We walk through malls without registering the environment. We eat meals without tasting the food. We shower while our mind is already at the 9 o'clock meeting. We inhabit a mental space that floats approximately 6 inches above our head, disconnected from the body that carries us. Consider the hidden cost. This disconnection has a measurable energetic impact. Dr. Hunt conducted an experiment that should have changed our understanding of what it means to live in our heads. In UCLA's physics department, there was a room called the Mu Room, a shielded space of approximately 7 square feet where researchers could alter the electromagnetic field of the air without affecting oxygen levels. The results were disturbing. When the electrical component of the environment was reduced, participants began showing disorganization of the auric field. Sensory feedback became so impaired that people lost awareness of where their bodies were in space. And then, without warning, they began to cry, crying without identifiable cause. Spontaneous emotional collapse. When researchers restored the electromagnetic field to normal levels, mental clarity returned. Participants reported sensations of expansion, organized thinking, well-being. This is where the connection becomes evident. Living mentally disconnected from the body produces an effect analogous to the electromagnetically depleted environment of the Mu Room. When we exclusively inhabit mental space, worries, projections, ruminations, we are functionally depleting our own energy field. The body is present, the mind is absent, and this division creates a form of internal impoverishment. Studies of high-performance executives reveal a pattern that becomes impossible to ignore. Around age 40, something begins to fail. These are individuals who built careers using the mind as their primary tool. Analysis, strategy, planning, problem-solving, sharp mental skills that allowed them to overcome obstacles, influence outcomes, handle any situation. And then the system begins to overload. more demands arise than mental processing capacity allows. The same strategies that worked for 2 decades begin producing diminishing returns. The person works longer hours, thinks more intensely, plans in more detail, and results worsen. The conventional diagnosis is burnout. The conventional solution is vacation, maybe therapy, maybe medication. But the real problem is something else. Neurology based exclusively on mental processing accumulated so much momentum, it became the only mode of operation. The body became merely a vehicle for transporting the head from one meeting to another. Somatic intelligence, the wisdom of the nervous system, was completely ignored. When you live like this long enough, you lose access to an entire system of information and regulation. The body keeps sending signals, tension in the shoulders, tightness in the chest, knot in the stomach. But the mentally occupied person doesn't register these signals until they become chronic pain or illness. Think about the irony. We developed technology to measure electromagnetic fields of people in shielded rooms, but we haven't developed the basic capacity to inhabit our own body during an ordinary Tuesday. The mentalized life isn't just uncomfortable, it's energetically unsustainable. Hunt's experiments demonstrated that the human field needs adequate electromagnetic nourishment to function. When this nourishment is lacking, whether from depleted environment or internal disconnection, systems begin to fail. Motor coordination, emotional clarity, capacity to process information. We created a culture that values incessant mental activity as a sign of productivity and intelligence. Being always thinking became a badge of honor. But research shows the opposite. Excessive mental activity disconnected from the body produces the same effect as electromagnetic depletion. Disorganization, emotional confusion, loss of orientation. That feeling of being overwhelmed, scattered, unable to focus. It's not personal weakness. It's the energy field signaling that something fundamental is missing. And what's missing isn't more information, more planning, more mental strategy. What's missing is presence in the body, connection with the nervous system. Return to the only place where real regulation can happen. When someone asks, "Who are you?" the typical answer involves profession, relationships, personality traits. I'm a lawyer. I'm a mother of 2. I'm introverted. This is the psychological definition of identity, useful for social conversations, completely insufficient for understanding how you create your reality. Identity, at the level that truly matters, isn't a list of attributes. It's an energetic position, a frequency sustained in the nervous system from which you experience and interpret everything around you. The mechanism is simple. Imagine 2 people entering the same room for a job interview, same qualifications, same resume, same opportunity. One of them carries in their nervous system the frequency of, "I am capable, I have value, I deserve to be here." The other carries, "I need to prove my worth, I'm probably not good enough, I hope I don't disappoint." These 2 people aren't entering the same room, they're entering different realities. Because the energetic position from which they interpret each stimulus is fundamentally distinct. The interviewer pauses before responding. For the first person, it means they're considering the answer carefully. For the second, it means they said something wrong. Same event, opposite interpretations, opposite emotional reactions, opposite subsequent behaviors. Here's the point that changes everything. Interpretation isn't a conscious choice. It's an automatic product of the frequency the nervous system sustains. Beliefs like, "I don't matter," "to have value," "I need to work exhaustively," "money is hard," "relationships always disappoint." These aren't just thoughts. They're crystallized energetic positions, specific frequencies the nervous system learned to maintain as its default state. And reality mirrors back, confirming exactly those frequencies. A mechanism Dr. Hunt mapped in the laboratory. Her research revealed that when anti-coherence exists between the body's energy centers, what ancient traditions call chakras, this disorganization directly correlates with physical and emotional dysfunction. The patterns don't lie. People with fragmented and incoherent fields consistently reported fragmented and incoherent lives. The field reflects the internal state and then attracts circumstances that reinforce that state. Consider what this means in practice. You wake up. Before even opening your eyes, the nervous system is already operating at a specific frequency. Maybe it's residual anxiety from the day before. Maybe it's worry about what needs to be done. Maybe it's a diffuse sensation that something is wrong, even without identifiable reason. This morning frequency isn't neutral. It's the position from which you'll interpret every email, every interaction, every event of the day. It's the filter through which reality will reach you. And reality, obediently, will confirm what the filter expects to find. The person who wakes up in scarcity frequency will notice prices rising, opportunities shrinking, obstacles multiplying. The person who wakes up in possibility frequency will notice doors opening, connections happening, solutions appearing, same city, same day, completely different realities. This isn't positive thinking, it's field physics applied to human experience. Dr. Hunt identified that specific emotions produce distinct and measurable frequency signatures. Frustration has a frequency, overwhelm has a frequency, fear has a frequency. Likewise, joy has a frequency, curiosity has a frequency, gratitude has a frequency. When you sustain one of these frequencies long enough, it becomes your default position, your energetic address, the place from which you operate automatically without needing to think. And this position determines what you can perceive, access, and create. Someone operating at chronic fear frequency literally cannot perceive opportunities that require courage. It's not that they choose to ignore. It's that the nervous system, calibrated for threat, filters these possibilities before they reach consciousness. Someone operating at openness and safety frequency perceives possibilities that seem invisible to others. Different calibration of the perception system. We think we first change circumstances, then change how we feel. The order is inverted. First, the frequency sustained in the nervous system changes. Then, perception recalibrates. Then, circumstances begin reflecting the new position. You're finally perceiving and responding to a different spectrum of reality, one that was always available, but was filtered by the previous position. The identity that truly matters isn't what you think about yourself. It's the frequency your nervous system sustains when you're not paying attention. That's the position that creates. Stress is the most normalized experience of modern life. So common it stopped being seen as a problem to become a default condition. Whoever isn't stressed seems like they're not working hard enough. But stress isn't just uncomfortable. It's a precise signal that you're creating more of what you don't want. It works as a real-time indicator. Every time you experience stress, your nervous system is transmitting a specific frequency to the field around you, and this frequency doesn't disappear when you finish the stressful task. It accumulates. Dr. Hunt demonstrated in the laboratory that by manipulating the energy field, it's possible to refine and encourage coherence in all biological tissues and systems. The inverse is also true. When the field operates in disorganization, physical systems reflect that disorganization. Chronic stress is chronic disorganization. It's sustained anti-coherence. Yet most people overlook one critical mechanism. The field has no choice but to respond to the frequency it receives. There's no judgment, no exception. The transmitted frequency attracts circumstances that invoke the same frequency. This means something disturbing. When you spend your day in a state of stress, worried about deadlines, anxious about results, tense about negative possibilities, you're effectively programming future experiences that will invoke exactly these same emotions. Today's stress is the order for more stress tomorrow. Frequency attracts frequency. The field responds to what it receives, not to what you'd like it to receive. Observe your typical day. How many hours do you spend in some form of tension, worry, or anxiety? Add up the time in irritated traffic, the time responding to emails with urgency, the time anticipating problems that might happen, the time mentally replaying situations that already passed. For most of us, this number is frightening. 8, 10, 12 hours daily of stressful frequency being transmitted to the field. And then these same people wonder why life seems like an endless sequence of problems. Life is responding with mathematical precision. Now consider the opposite. When you experience genuine gratitude, not forced, not as a mental exercise, but as a real sensation in the body, this frequency also transmits. When calm, safety, openness exist, these frequencies also enter the field. And the field responds the same way, attracting circumstances that invoke more of these emotions. The challenge is significant because your current circumstances are reflections of past frequencies. They're the result of emotional patterns you sustained for months or years. Looking at these circumstances and feeling stress because of them is perpetuating the cycle. It's adding more fuel to the pattern that created the problem. The only way to break the cycle is to dissociate our current emotions from visible circumstances. This means experiencing gratitude even when there seems to be no reason to be thankful. It means feeling abundance even when the bank account is low. It means sustaining safety even when the external environment seems threatening. A deliberate decision to transmit a different frequency than circumstances seem to justify. Because circumstances are echoes of the past. The frequency you sustain now is the seed of the future. Hunt's research showed that coherent states produce smooth, organized waves in the field, while anti-coherent states produce fragmented, chaotic patterns. The difference isn't just qualitative, it's functional. Coherent fields process information more efficiently. Incoherent fields operate in constant overload mode. Have we noticed how everything seems harder when we're stressed? Simple tasks consume disproportionate energy. Obvious decisions seem impossible. Solutions that would be evident in a calm state simply don't appear. The field is operating in anti-coherence, with reduced capacity to process and integrate information. Stress isn't just a consequence of having too many problems, it's a cause of not being able to solve the problems that exist. And every minute sustaining this frequency is simultaneously creating more of the same and reducing your capacity to deal with what already exists. When we understand this, truly understand, our relationship with stress changes completely. It stops being something inevitable to become crucial information. Real-time feedback saying, in this moment, you're programming more difficulty. In this moment, you're transmitting scarcity. In this moment, your field is in anti-coherence, to generate awareness. Because awareness is the first step toward choice, and choice is the first step toward frequency change. The stress you feel isn't the problem, it's the signal pointing to the real problem, a nervous system operating in threat mode, transmitting survival frequency to a field that will respond by creating more survival situations. The entire field of personal development can be reduced to a single practice. One rule, one game. Downregulate the nervous system, that's all. The rest is detail. Meditation works when it helps downregulate the nervous system. Exercise works when it helps downregulate the nervous system. Therapy works when it helps downregulate the nervous system. Breathing techniques, spiritual retreats, contemplative practices, everything converges to the same point. Taking the nervous system out of sympathetic mode and putting it into parasympathetic mode. The autonomic nervous system operates in two main states. Sympathetic is fight or flight mode, the emergency response we evolved to survive predators. When activated, the body redirects resources for immediate action. Heart accelerates. Breathing becomes shallow, muscles tense, digestion stops. Thinking narrows to the present threat. Useful if you're being chased by a tiger, disastrous if it's your default mode of operation. Parasympathetic is rest and restoration mode. When activated, the body enters healing mode. Heart slows, breathing deepens, muscles relax, digestion normalizes, thinking expands to possibilities. This is the state where we create, where we heal, where we genuinely connect with others. Dr. Hunt identified in her research that specific frequencies are associated with distinct states of consciousness. Denser frequencies correlate with contracted states, fear, anger, anxiety. Higher frequencies correlate with expansive states, peace, clarity, expanded consciousness. It's no coincidence that these elevated frequencies only appear when the nervous system is regulated. The parasympathetic state isn't just more comfortable, it's literally a different frequency of operation. The uncomfortable truth remains. Most people live in chronic sympathetic state. The nervous system was conditioned to interpret almost everything as threat. An email from the boss, threat. An unexpected bill, threat. Criticism from a colleague, threat. A tight deadline, threat. An unanswered message, threat. The nervous system doesn't distinguish between a tiger and an urgent email. It fires the same response. And when this response fires dozens of times daily, sympathetic mode becomes the baseline. The person forgets what feeling safe is like. This chronic insecurity has expressions we've normalized. Do you recognize any of these? Difficulty relaxing even on vacation, inability to be present in good moments without anticipating what could go wrong. Constant sensation that something is missing or something bad is coming. These aren't personality traits. They're symptoms of a nervous system that lost access to parasympathetic state. And the expression of this in the field is predictable. In sympathetic expression, we create more of what reinforces sympathetic state. Stress attracts stressful circumstances. Anxiety attracts situations that generate anxiety. Financial insecurity attracts more reasons to feel financially insecure. The system is working perfectly, it's just calibrated for the wrong mode. In parasympathetic expression, creation changes. Openness attracts possibilities. Safety attracts circumstances that reinforce safety. Clarity attracts solutions that weren't visible before, not through magic, through frequency. Hunt's research documented that when the field operates in coherence, which only happens in a regulated state, the efficiency of all systems increases. The mind processes information better. The body recovers faster. Perception expands to capture what was previously filtered. And this is the simplicity that complicates things for most people. Because we expect complex solutions for problems that feel complex. We want elaborate strategies, advanced techniques, detailed protocols. The truth is simpler and harder at the same time. You don't need more information. You need a nervous system that exits survival mode. You don't need more mental techniques. You need a body that feels safe. You don't need more affirmations. You need a sustained parasympathetic frequency, and this doesn't happen through mental decision. It's not enough to decide to relax. It's not enough to want to feel safe. The nervous system doesn't respond to verbal commands. It responds to specific practices, repeated, consistent. The good news is that the nervous system is plastic. It can be reconditioned. Sympathetic mode isn't a permanent sentence. It's a learned pattern that can be unlearned. Nervous regulation isn't luxury or superfluous self-care. It's the central practice that determines which frequency you operate at, and therefore, which reality you can access and create. Everything else is secondary. There's a specific practice that can reset your nervous system in less than 2 minutes. It requires no equipment. It requires no special environment. It can be done anywhere. In the car before a meeting, in the office bathroom, in bed, before sleep. The technique derives from HeartMath Institute research and uses what they call coherent heart-focused breathing. The difference between this approach and common breathing techniques is the intentional emotional component combined with each phase. It works in 3 breaths, each with a specific function. First breath, opening. Inhale slowly, imagining the air entering directly through the center of your chest, through the heart. While inhaling, count to 5 internally. On the exhale, also for 5 seconds, imagine your arms opening to the sides. Visualize yourself on a sunny hillside, receiving rays of light entering through your open chest. Or imagine receiving a hug from someone who loves you unconditionally. The sensation sought is receptivity, openness to receive what life offers. Second breath, release. Again, inhale through the heart for 5 seconds. On the exhale, imagine everything you carry, worries, stories, accumulated tensions, old traumas, sliding off your shoulders, gliding down through the body like water, passing through the legs, exiting through the feet, grounding into the earth. The sensation sought is relief, letting go of what you no longer need to carry. Third breath, presence. Inhale through the heart for the 3rd time. On the exhale, allow a sensation of safety to establish itself. Recognize internally, in this moment, here and now, I am okay. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, in this specific second, no real threat exists. The sensation sought is safety, anchoring in the present. 3 breaths, opening, release, presence. Less than 90 seconds. What happens physiologically is documented. The breathing rhythm of approximately 6 breaths per minute, 5 seconds inhale, 5 seconds exhale, synchronizes with the natural heart rhythm. When heart and breathing enter synchrony, the autonomic nervous system receives a safety signal. The body exits sympathetic mode, enters parasympathetic through physiological mechanics. Hunt's research demonstrated that the human field responds positively when the electromagnetic environment is adequate. In UCLA laboratories, participants in electromagnetically balanced environments showed better motor performance, increased emotional well-being, and access to expanded states of consciousness. The breathing practice functions as a way to internally restore what Hunt measured externally. You're creating, through breathing and emotional intention, the internal conditions for field coherence. The recommendation is simple: 5 minutes, 3 times a day. Morning, before the day begins. Midday, when stress accumulates. night, before sleep. 15 minutes total, distributed throughout the day. This isn't 1-hour meditation. It's not a weekend retreat. It's surgical intervention on the nervous system, applied in small, frequent doses. Because change doesn't happen in occasional long sessions. It happens in short, consistent repetitions. This is how our nervous system learns. Every time you practice, you're reinforcing a pattern. You're teaching the nervous system that an alternative to constant threat mode exists. Over time, the regulated state stops being an exception and starts becoming more accessible. Can you imagine what living from this place would be like? The nervous system learns that safety is possible, that openness doesn't mean dangerous vulnerability, that releasing control doesn't result in collapse. And when this learning consolidates, frequency changes. Your nervous system is operating in a different state, transmitting a different frequency, accessing a different band of reality. The practice is simple, the effects are profound. 3 breaths to interrupt the threat pattern. 5 minutes 3 times daily to recondition the system. Weeks of consistency to establish our new baseline. The field responds to what you transmit, and what you transmit is determined by the state of your nervous system. The technique we just explored is a manual reset, a way to consciously intervene in a system that normally operates on automatic. But there's a next level. Audio tools based on specific frequencies can accelerate this process. Instead of depending solely on your capacity to generate internal states, you receive external support, calibrated frequencies that facilitate entry into parasympathetic state and sustaining coherence for longer periods. We developed exactly this type of tool. Audios that prepare the nervous system to function as the ancients described. A tuned receiver, capable of accessing information and states that normally remain blocked by the noise of sympathetic mode. To discover how to access these tools and start training your nervous system with frequency support, click the link on the screen or in the comments. If this video resonated with you, write in the comments, "It made sense to me,"